The story starts off with two characters playing a video game, with one of the two having finished the game to infinity. The outcome is obvious from the get-go, but when the loser goes ahead to insult Super Attack Family or Tac Fam, this enrages Tamazaki. He makes the loser take back his words by winning an unfavored matchup. The next day, we find out that outside of video games, Tamazaki is a mere shadow of his game self. I mean, being the #1 ranked player comes with that curse. But fixing a meetup with the second best player, No Name, brings forth a surprise he never could have imagined. No Name is, in fact, Hinami, the girl who's perfect at almost everything. She isn't happy with what she's seeing since she imagined Nanashir to be way cooler. After a heated exchange, Hinami is determined to teach Tamazaki the rules of the game we call life. Setting up goals for this Tac Fan prodigy in the sewing room, the next day Tamazaki puts his newly learned skills to the test. Since he has to talk to 3 different girls today, it's going to be rough. But somehow he manages to borrow a handkerchief while grinning, crackling up a lame joke that makes Mimi roll on the floor with laughter, and Thomason breaking the ice with him. Next up, Tamazaki has to walk home with Hinami, Mimi, and 2 boys, and being left alone with Nanami makes him nervous. But with her being the easygoing girl, she makes it super easy for the bottom-tier character, gaining experience. Next up, the protagonist has to work on his posture, and through some changes, things are looking better. The planning is underway, and Hinami gives Tamazaki flashcards and a pocket voice player to review the conversation they just had in the sewing room. Afterwards, Hinami comes up with something totally different, and the two agreed to meet in front of the station this Saturday. It's finally that day. Tamazaki arrives late, but he is forgiven given he's improved his looks a bit, at least compared to the first time they had an offline meeting. Tamazaki and Hinami go shopping, trying to get the boy all swagged up and also hit a steak restaurant. Just when the tour is about to arrive, the two are taken by surprise when they find out that Kikuchi from the class is, in fact, a waitress in that restaurant. Seeing the girl approach Tamazaki first, Hinami adds that he has a chance with her, but Tamazaki doesn't share the same opinion. After hitting the salon, finally, Tamazaki's sister notices a change in him, and that takes care of the first goal he was given by Hinami. Out of the blue, Kikuchi finds Tamazaki and tells him about the novel she's writing. And after her asking, Tamazaki agrees to give it a read. Just when he's about to go home, the boy sees a gloomy Izumi who wants him to teach her Attack Fam. Tamazaki starts teaching Izumi the game, and with him being a total master of it, it isn't strange when he starts pulling off moves that only the most skilled players would be able to come up with. He even goes ahead to give the girl a broken stopwatch that would end up making her perfect the time when it comes to that jump button. Later on, Tamazaki ends up confessing to Kikuchi that he doesn't actually like novels and he just went along with the conversation. The last time, Kikuchi isn't offended at all, and the two agreed to meet again for a more natural conversation. Afterward, Tamazaki has Hinami waiting in the sewing room while he's giving Nakamura the hardest time of his life. After countless games, the girl trio finally shouts at Nakamura, calling his efforts a waste of time and energy, to which Tamazaki confronts them and gives everyone a piece of his mind. Not being able to use the tickets with Kikuchi, Tamazaki asks Hinami, and since she's busy, the two agreed to go to a different movie. After watching the movie, the two are having a post-movie talk. Hinami suggests Tamazaki add more emotion to what he's saying because it feels more natural that way. The next day at school, Tamazaki notices that Nezumi is occupied with something. Since Nakamura's birthday is approaching, she wants to give her a great present, and Tamazaki makes sure he talks her into buying one ASAP. Accompanied by Misazuwa, this time, the three meet at the shopping mall and get a hair wax since Shuji's hair is bland at best. But at the same time, seeing Hinami get all chummy with Mizusawa makes Tamazaki jealous bit by bit. Later on, the student council president is here, and we've got two candidates ready, Oi and Mimi. The fight is on between the two girls, with Tamazaki wanting to be Mimi's campaign guy. Things don't turn out well when she goes for the junior Yumi instead. On the other hand, Mizusawa is the one by Hinami's side, so that slot's occupied as well. Tamazaki puts that critical thinking to the test and comes up with some pretty good points that earn him the position of being Mimi's brain. The two look like the perfect fit, and with the plea to install air conditioners in every classroom, the first years are going to bite without a doubt. It's about time the two break Mimi's second-place curse. Afterwards, the right-hand men of both of these parties are there for the support and encouragement. Hinami and Mimi give their speech, with Hinami countering their AC idea using strong force alone that makes the Mimi and Tamazaki duo bring out their big gun. But sadly, that doesn't turn Nanami into a victor. Soon after, Tamazaki asks Kikuchi out on a date, and with Mimi being even more competitive than usual, the tables are about to be turned. As we look at Mimi now, she's just a shell of her former self. She's starting to skip practice, and whenever she's confronted by Tamazaki, she just wants to break away from the conversation. Tamazaki starts to add 2 and 2 together when he comes to know about her past and the whole basketball match between the two. Tamazaki knows something has to be done when Mimi quits the track club, and with the help of Tama, the two are able to bring the old Nanami back, and Tamazaki brings shame to his name once again. While talking to Nakamura soon after, Tamazaki reveals his new goal. He has to take Fuka Kikuchi out on a date. I mean, it's not hard, but we're talking about Tamazaki here. Coming up with a plan and also setting up a rehearsal, Hinami sure is a blessing for any guy out there. But before all that, the beloved characters gather and have all sorts of fun. If that isn't enough, the date finally ends up happening. The bottom-tier character has his first date and it goes very well, even landing him a second date soon after. But just before that, we have a barbecue trip with the boys and girls, and the lots commuting via a train, taking it all in while Hinami constantly gives Tamazaki an air about how he is hard to talk to. They soon arrive at the place and all sorts of girls and guys fun start to happen right away. Gossiping, cards, food, you name it. At the very end of it all, everyone's trying to talk with Nakamura with Yuzu, and in doing so, Hinami and Tamazaki end up coming a little too close. Even after coming so close, Hinami is just playing games with the bottom-tier character. They make it to their cabins, but later that night, Hinami and Tamazaki can't sleep. Mizusawa joins the fray, and just when Tamazaki is away, more like hiding, he ends up pouring his heart out, letting it all out in front of Hinami. Hinami's answer to his confession isn't a yes, and that just makes Tamazaki come out from hiding. Afterwards, the fireworks date is on the menu, and despite having planned to confess his feelings for Fuka, he ends up saying nothing. He meets Hinami afterwards, and the two end up having a conflict all of a sudden. Tamazaki has been away from everything, having not replied to Fuka's text for 2 days now. He gets a hold of himself and goes to have some more of that author. After this new date with Fuka, he comes to realize that he needs to meet with Hinami yet again. At first, she's reluctant to meet him, but afterwards agrees to his proposition. It's a difficult exchange between the two, but with Tamazaki coming up with a new ideology of skills plus true desires, it looks like his life will change soon. Later on, everyone is choosing an outfit for Yuzu, and the anime comes to an end with Nanami and Tamazaki putting their skills to the test.